It is all about, just kind of having a bit of fun, a bit of colour on court. Everything's a bit too plain and boring when you look at kind of some of the bigger brands. It's just black and white and blue. Tedious.
You should bring your flair, because I know for a fact that when I play tennis, I'm a bit of a different person on court to how I am off the court. Saw that Kate Middleton was spotted using one of your grips as well. Is that something that you have actively tried to advertise?
And we're seeing a lot of, I think, other players come up now as well that are kind of bringing this whole thing about like bringing personality to the courts. And you've got guys like, Ben Shelton actually recently at the US Open, and some of the other Americans. I think Frances Tiafoe is great at it as well.
Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of the podcast. We've got a really exciting guest with us today. This is James from Get a Grip Club. He is the founder of this particular business, which sells, as he describes it, funky tennis kit, which I absolutely adore, because that is what I am all about when it comes to playing tennis. You've got to bring a little bit of style alongside it. I think we all remember Stan Wawrinka's funky shorts a few years ago. That one's been running around the tennis tour for a very long time. Anyway, James, I'll tell you what, if you tell us a little bit about yourself, tell us a little bit about how you got involved in doing your business, and basically what is Get a Grip?
Well, first of all, thank you very much for having me on. It's a pleasure to be here. Really appreciate it. Get a Grip. Founder, I always think is a weird word. It always sounds a bit pretentious and stuff. I make stuff and then I sell it a little bit, or try and sell it anyway. Get a Grip is my little business. Started in 2020 during COVID, when I guess we were all kind of meant to be working from home and maybe not doing so much of our actual jobs, but like thinking about other stuff. We sell kind of funky tennis accessories, and for other racket sports as well. So squash, badminton, paddle, and pickleball for the Americans. Maybe talk about your thoughts on pickleball later. And essentially it is kind of our main product, as the name suggests, is overgrips. So just going over the top of your existing grip and adding some color. I'm reaching over here because I've just got a few, so maybe the video.
Beautiful,
people can have a little look, and little dampeners, shock absorbers for soaking up that kind of excess string vibration, and socks and some other bits like that. And it is all about just kind of having a bit of fun, a bit of color on court. Everything's a bit too plain and boring when you look at kind of some of the bigger brands. It's just black and white and blue. Tedious. So just adding a bit of color basically.
Couldn't agree more. You're absolutely right. It is tedious. Everything that you find on, and I'm not going to name any specific companies because I don't want to specifically outcompete anyone. However, I will agree with you. Yes, it's nice to see that there's a little bit of individualism that you can bring to your own tennis, and that's something that a lot
100%.
of people who listen to our podcast they're absolutely keen on. Is you should bring your flair, because I know for a fact that when I play tennis, I'm a bit of a different person on court to how I am off the court. It's quite nice if you've got a funky color, some nice socks, something different, then it takes the edge off when people see you on the other side of the net. They're thinking, oh, okay, he can't be that bad. He's wearing some nice colored socks. It's that sort of thing does make a difference, I think.
Yeah, this maniac losing his mind, smashing balls everywhere. Yeah, he's
exactly
as he's looking right now.
Yeah, I feel like this guy needs to let off some steam. That'll be where he's going. Anyway, I'll tell you what, one thing I have to know, because we are Getting a Grip Tennis podcast. You are Get a Grip. Get a Grip Club, Get a Grip. I can't remember which one it is.
Yeah, both are just Get a Grip, but Get a Grip Club. Yeah,
just Get a Grip.
It's all kind of one and the same. Yeah.
How did you come up with the name? Was it literally just thought, oh, I'm going to sell that product, and it just it happened, or was it?
The kind of the name was a bit of a given kind of from the off. I always had my mind set on it, I guess fortunately after doing a bit of kind of trademark research, somehow no one had taken it. So my lawyers will be in touch with your lawyers. We'll start settling this for stealing my name. I'm joking, obviously. I remember I was walking the dog, and I think it was I can't remember. But basically, it was I was thinking about Nick Kyrgios, who I've been a kind of long-term fan of. Exactly, yeah. I obviously a pretty polarizing player, but I am a fan, unashamed, I suppose. And yeah, I was just kind of thinking, this man plays obviously with an insane amount of personality and this kind of thing, but doesn't, you know what I mean? He doesn't have. I was kind of, why do these players not have something a bit more fun, a bit more funky to put on their racket when they're playing? And I kind of looked into it. There wasn't really anyone else kind of offering something like this. And then just sort of started working on it from there, working on designs and speaking to suppliers and all this kind of good stuff. So I've kind of lost track of what the question was.
No, you're answering it perfectly. You were talking about how you got to the name, and it's rolled on beautifully.
Yeah, and then the name was a given. It's got to be Get a Grip.
It had to be.
And yeah, exactly. So I think just after, just bought the website address, and the rest is history.
So are you saying what you bought the website address? Whenabouts did you start doing that?
That was during 2020, summertime, and then we started in the UK. So we are, well, I say we. Get a Grip is mostly a one-man band, and you're looking at the band. And we started started getting into business in the beginning of 2021. So it's been about 2.5 years now, and it's just fantastic. Very much started from the flat I'm in now. I'm actually in my housemate's room because my room is just the lights and stuff. But yeah, on the bedroom floor, stock everywhere, sending out orders in the post box on the other side of the park. And it's steadily grown since then. So it's been a stretch, but a lot of fun.
Incredible. I mean, I love seeing, entrepreneurial things happen. It certainly is the sort of thing that should be happening more, especially within tennis as well. So many people have found great success from attaching themselves to the sport, and not necessarily in just playing or just coaching. It's not always related to that. There's so much related to our sport that it can often go unnoticed. I was kind of curious.
On that, completely. So I was just going to say, absolutely. Because I played tennis since I was a kid and just lacked any kind of, I play as much as I can, any, I guess, requisite talent required to actually make any indents in any level, be that at school, kind of college, whatever. But I play every week as much as I possibly can. And Get a Grip was spawned off, I guess, kind of wanting to be close to tennis and work in it, but without actually having or being able to play in any way. And just on that point, I think it is interesting and 100% correct that there is an abundant, there's a ton of opportunity within the sport to work in it, around it, without necessarily actually kind of swinging a racket about. And I've always encouraged people, anyone, just have a look and think about what you'd maybe like to change about the sport, what could be done differently or better. And, pretty quickly, you'll probably come up with some good ideas.
That's so true. And like I say, the pun that you came up with, the name for your business, is testament to that. It can always be fun along the way. You say it was 2020 as well. I have a feeling that that's probably why we couldn't buy that domain, probably because you already had it. So fair play to you, being 2 years earlier than we were as a podcast. No, it's all's fair in the world. But no, that's fantastic. I'm kind of curious because you've talked a lot about it growing as well, which I think is obviously great. I was wondering what your aim with the business is. Where do you see that going eventually? I know this is almost a little bit of an interview question. I don't really want it to feel that way, but it's something I feel I have to ask because you look to be at this great position where something's about to take off. Something already has taken off. I'm seeing adverts right and centre on Instagram. Excellent. Everything's professional. Where's it going? That's what I want to know.
That I've never really been very good at that kind of question of where you see yourself in 5 years, because I don't know. There's always a bit of a plan, but I've never I don't know. I guess the big ambition would be to be it's just going to sound pretty niche, but within that kind of racket sport accessories, as recognizable as some of the big names, the Wilsons, the Babolats and whatever. So when people are thinking about what kind of stuff to equip their racket with, it's as synonymous as maybe some of those big names. And then just to be and to extend that out across racket sports, and potentially even things like golf and this kind of thing. But the bread and butter will always be racket sports, just because that's kind of my passion and what I love. And then to go around the world to America and beyond, I don't know.
Brilliant. No.
But yeah, I think the big thing would just be be up there with some. It's a big ambition, ridiculously enormous, but try and at least strive for it. Those big names and compete alongside and this kind of thing.
Fantastic. And you mentioned
to have some ATP and WTA pros rocking up to a Grand Slam with some Get a Grip stuff on their racket. That's and to be at Wimbledon and blah blah blah. The list is quite long, and I could,
well, you want the sponsored tickets, don't you? You want to be there because you're part of the elite now of tennis. Everyone wants to know.
Oh no, yeah. I guess I'll have made it when I'm having sausage rolls in Wimbledon hospitality. That's
sausage rolls. That's everyone's strawberries and cream, no? But
what am I talking about? Sorry, yeah. What am I talking about?
No,
mains and dessert.
Mains and dessert, yeah. I'm pretty sure as well. I saw again on Instagram. This keeps coming up. Maybe I spend too much time on that app. That could be a problem. But I saw that Kate Middleton was spotted using one of your grips as well. Is that something that you have actively tried to advertise? Is that something? Did she approach you, or is it just suddenly you saw an image?
So I mean, yeah, this was like undoubtedly the kind of coolest thing that's happened. I don't know. I can remember. Yeah. She did. This was crazy. So Kate Middleton did a sort of video photo shoot promoting the great work of the ball boys and the ball girls at Wimbledon. And did it with one Roger Federer, and that's also just I can't get my head around that. And that was a video that went out maybe a week or 2 weeks before Wimbledon, kind of thing, with a bunch of photos and blah blah blah. Yes, I was very fortunate. I was at Glastonbury at the time on the Sunday when all those videos and stuff went out, and a couple of customers started tag Get a Grip, the Instagram account, in the Wimbledon post and this kind of thing. And I was looking at it, and it's Glastonbury, so you've had a drink fairly early in the day, and I was just like, that's not real. I don't believe that. This is
someone spiked my drink.
AI. It's a Photoshop nonsense. I'm seeing things. I don't believe it. And then I looked at it and I was like, hang on, no, wait a second, that's on the Wimbledon account and blah blah blah. And so Kate was, Catherine, I think, HRH. I've been called up on that a few times actually. It is not Kate Middleton. It is HRH, Princess Catherine. She had one of our grips, this one actually, here, which is called Serve and Vibe. It's one of our best sellers, on her racket and in the video, in the photos when she was having a knockabout with Roger. So as you can imagine, I have sort of utilize that to the max, and anyone who's been anywhere near the Get a Grip Instagram or has looked at any tennis video maybe on Instagram has probably been bombarded into oblivion by adverts which have that in it. So that was completely, I had no idea that was going to happen. That was just completely unexpected and just very cool, basically.
It's an awesome story, especially because she was on the court with Roger Federer. So you'd like to think that there was a little bit of jealousy going on behalf of him.
I think, well, yeah, she had to get the upper hand somehow. So if you can't beat him, you got to look good while you're doing it, I suppose.
Exactly that. But exactly that. I almost feel like that should be a motto somewhere now. Maybe a T-shirt. Add that to the collection, perhaps.
If you can't beat him, look good doing it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's one of the things that piques my interest the most about your business and about all of the products that you sell, because I've had a little look through everything, and there's such a variety, which is the best thing. So you really can cater to pretty much all tastes. What I was wondering is do you think that this element of this flair, this individuality that that you can bring with these products. Is that something you feel is missing with tennis? Is that something that you're trying to bring more actively?
I mean, that is kind of the whole principle of Get a Grip, is to basically have some creativity and express yourself a little bit, and basically just have a bit of fun with your game. That is the whole point. And I do think, like, if you look at kind of some of the players that are coming up now, tennis has got this reputation maybe of being a little bit traditional and a bit stiff, perhaps. And I know, as I mentioned, for better or worse, a Kyrgios fan, and he's a guy who obviously expresses himself a lot. And we're seeing a lot of, I think, other players come up now as well that are kind of bringing this whole thing about, like, bringing personality to the courts. And you've got guys like, well, Ben Shelton actually recently at the US Open, and some of the other Americans. I think Francis Tiafoe is great at it as well.
Yep.
About kind of bringing something extra to the court, and that just in turn I think just brings more people to tennis and gets them engaged, and that's kind of exactly what the sport needs, rather than kind of sticking to more regimented ways of doing things. And in a very small way, this is what Get a Grip's about, is just being able to express yourself and have a bit of fun, there's no point being boring.
No, absolutely.
On your game.
I also notice every time Wimbledon happens, there's always some controversy because a player's got too much colour on their white hat, or their shorts aren't completely white, or some rubbish like that.
Yeah.
And okay, I understand the tradition.
Tradition is good. It's one thing, but yeah, I'm torn on it. Wimbledon needs that, but tennis more generally, I think. I don't know. I think because even like Ben Shelton got a load of stick for some of his stuff that he was doing in the celebration with the phone and all this kind of stuff at the US Open. But I was just thinking, this is a young guy who's like phenomenally talented, and he's getting eyeballs on the sport, and that's super important. Yeah. And it's entertaining, at least for my side. And I personally want to see that kind of stuff. So yeah. Ben, if you're listening, keep going. I'm loving it.
Yeah, no, this is excellent. I think that sort of flair that you can bring to tennis, specifically because people who get into tennis at the start of their journey, whether they're just starting coaching, whether they just started hitting with a mate in a park, whether you're a kid as well, especially when you're a kid, if you're being drawn into tennis or maybe forced into tennis by your parents, if you feel it's quite, as you say, stiff, which tennis does often still get that reputation of, it's still often defined as a sort of middle class, upper class sport, which it should not be. Nothing really should be. Then it's really important that they have those extra elements that obviously add to the fun, and being able to express yourself. For me, I definitely see that as being super important. So it is an extreme privilege to have a business like yours, obviously representing that side of tennis, because, well, not many other companies do. I was going to ask, do you have any advice on how people can sort of merge some of your products and also their own individuality into tennis, whether it is just your products or whether it is in other ways as well? Is there a good way for people to express themselves and maybe a bad way?
Well, that's interesting. A bad way. Get a Grip's a great place to start. Start with your racket. But no, like, I think as well, when I'm playing, at least, and there are kind of, be sensible, but like, I don't know, as you said yourself, you become a slightly different person maybe, and I'm very loud, and I like kind of shouting a little bit. I also, when I'm playing as well, I'm never going to be a player of any great regard. I've accepted that kind of lot in life, and it is what it is. But that is never going to stop me trying to imitate the players, some of the insane shots that you're going to see at the Grand Slams and the other tournaments and this kind of thing, and imitating your favorite players. I think that's a great way to actually try and improve as well, is looking at some of these guys and just some of the just crazy shots that they're doing, trick shots as well. I also am a big kind of fan of, and just giving a go. And it's just a quite, because hey, you might miss 99, but that 1 out of 100 that you do hit will make up for all of them. So I think as a way to express yourself, and also just when it does come off, there's nothing better. And I think there's loads of actually great brands in and around tennis as well. I'll give a shout out to Palacorda. They create some really nice clothing for tennis, so shorts and tops and windbreakers and all this kind of good stuff. And they're another kind of small UK brand who make really good stuff. And their whole kind of ethos as well is just like, some crazy designs, very vibrant, quite loud. And they do some really, really cool stuff. So I think there's a ton of ways and companies that are trying to, maybe just push the boundaries a little bit on what's out there at the moment on courts. And that's I think those play loudly, hitting in crazy shots, and get some crazy clothing on. That's what I'd say.
Quite right. I love the crazy clothing. That's probably something that I have done or tried to do, at least in the past. I will try and find the wackiest thing. And a lot of the time, especially with the bigger brands, I think if you notice, a lot of the craziest items tend to be in the sales section, because I think some people find, maybe it's a bit much for me. So you can actually get some of that stuff at a discounted price. It's that I have found in the past. And who cares if it clashes, right?
Doesn't matter. Yeah, if you feel good, if it feels good, it is good.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that. That is going to be a sound bite and a half. I think when it comes to everyone playing, their own individual version of the sport, you're quite right. I think trick shots are definitely a great way to enjoy yourself out on the court. You could do that with your racket, looking good as well. For me as well, I have to have two hats. I am a coach. If I'm a coach, I'll say, lay off the trick shots, play consistent, get that ball in. That's what I'm telling people. Yeah. Percentage tennis, that's what I've got to tell people, because that's what they come to me for, to hear effectively. You don't pay me X amount per hour for a coaching session to hear, go for the wacky shot, hit it out all the time.
I say this with I've got my tennis buddy. He's a German guy, so he's very efficient and he wants to win, and it's that's his mindset. And I say, Vince, I'm playing for the imaginary highlight reel in my mind. This is what I'm thinking about with some of the ridiculous stuff which just goes 8 feet over the baseline, because it's all about the one that does. And anyway, worst tennis advice ever.
Does that mean you always have like a GoPro set up in the corner of the court because you're looking for that highlight reel, or?
I haven't got one. I did look. I've been talking about Instagram adverts. I forget what they're called, but those cameras that I've been very tempted, but I don't know if I can quite take the plunge on that. But yeah, the cameras that follow you around and or you stick on the net, the fence and stuff, and this kind of thing. That might be a step too far, but yeah, just while it's imaginary, it's all fun and games. I think an actual video would be that'd be too scary to watch back.
Yeah, well, it'd be too scary to watch back because you have to endure watching the bad ones all over again. But the one highlight, you're going to keep rewatching that over and over again. So yeah, I do agree. Okay, right. So now I thought we'd go into something a little bit more fun. What I want to effectively test your knowledge, because you are a part of the tennis world. You've established yourself now as being a key part of it in trying to help people bring their flair and individuality. You sell a lot of grips. What I need to know now is, do you know about all the grips? So this in turn means all about the different types of tennis shots and the different types of grips. So this will maybe test what level of tennis player you are to a degree. You might know it. You may have even researched it because, I sent you some questions beforehand, so you may have had a little look. Anyway, if you're...
I just, for clarity and context, just haven't had a tennis lesson since I was 12, so let's just go into it with that.
Yeah.
With that in mind.
That's all right. We'll try and bear that in mind. So there is one grip.
I'm not making excuses or anything. It's just, it's just putting that out there. It's fine.
Yeah. Don't worry. If you get it wrong, then it's not like your business is going to fail or anything like that.
Sure.
Don't say it like
counting.
that. Yeah. No one's counting. Unless someone's going, well, if he doesn't know his stuff, I'm not going to buy his grips. I doubt that. And also, who listens this far into the podcast? Am I right?
Bring it on. Let's do it.
Okay, right. So there's one grip in tennis. We call it chopper grip. It's also called Continental. Yep. What I want to know is there a way that you could describe to me as to how to hold that grip? How would you know that you're holding that grip?
I was hoping you'd ask this one, because I think this is actually the one that I can probably do. This is for your serve, I think.
Oh, and you've answered my second question. I haven't even asked it.
Come on. And sort of like, I would describe it as sort of maybe like just chopping a log or something, like chopper. No, it's just like lumberjack style, straight down. That's my final answer.
Yeah, bang on. Yeah, it's like, I always describe it as like holding a knife, like you're going to chop something with the frame of the racket. But yeah, bang on. I mean, you can't get it wrong with chopper.
Clues in my name. Fantastic.
It's kind of there. There. Okay, well, you've answered my second question. What would you use chopper grip for? Well, you went with the serve. Quite right. Can you name another shot that it goes with?
I'm going to say a sort of forehand volley, but that feels wrong.
So
no,
a volley maybe on your forehand side. Yeah. Absolutely right. Yeah, any volley. You'll use chopper grip for any volley. Anyone using a different grip for their volleying is going to find it quite hard. But yeah, absolutely. However, technically, you can use Continental for every shot. So it doesn't actually matter. You could have said any shot and it's all technically correct, because up until
Gael Monfils slap forehand.
Gael Monfils slap forehand. That is now a chopper grip forehand. Yeah, no. Oh, yeah. You're thinking about the flare shots. That highlight reel's going again, isn't it?
I was just watching some UTS stuff. Yeah, there's a video been doing the rounds of Gael just slapping.
Yeah, I literally saw that this morning.
Into next week. Unbelievable.
Against Rublev, wasn't it? Yeah, that's right.
Exactly.
Yeah, absolutely slaps his serve back like it was nothing. Yeah, Christ. Okay, cool. So Continental grips, chopper grips, we've covered that. Okay, so I'm going to give you I'm going to do two different grips, and I want you to see if you can work out which is for the forehand and which is for a one-handed backhand, because technically a two-handed backhand uses chopper and then your other hand, but that can always change. It's a bit odd, that one. But anyway, two grips. One is semi-Western and one is Eastern. And those are the only real names that we call them.
Okay.
Which one is used for the forehand, typically? And which one is used for the one-handed backhand, typically? Again, things can change. Individuality.
Eastern forehand, semi-Western backhand.
Final answer?
No. Yeah.
Yeah, unfortunately, no. It is the other way around. The Eastern grip is for your one-handed backhand. They're almost the same. They're very like the bevels on your racket, like sort of around slightly. But yeah, interesting. Very tough knowledge, because a lot of the time people getting into tennis, and you've proven it exactly there. Someone like me who's done a lot of coaching
don't know what they're talking about.
Exactly. If you're just getting into tennis, you want to, have fun with the sport, flair and individuality. Who gives about what the name of the specific grip is? Unfortunately, a lot of coaches, like me, all over the country, all over the world, still use all of that terminology, and it definitely puts us off. So, that's one thing that we can definitely do, is try and avoid unnecessary complications and making sure we have fun. And start that with...
do we get a grip, man?
Yeah, there we go. Tried to roll you in
easy. No, sorry, it's a little bit slow off the mark. Yeah,
that's all right. That's all right.
Just taking a quicker swing.
Yeah, swing, brilliant. I'll tell you what. So we're gonna finish off. With just a little bit of information about where people can find you, where people can find your business, and basically how they can get a grip on having some fun with their tennis.
Well, first, I'd just like to, before the Get a Grip stuff, Get a Grip does a bit of works with charity called Give It Your Max. And first thing, just while I remember as well, is they run a fantastic promotion campaign. It's a charity that helps disadvantaged kids get into tennis by setting them up with coaching and breakfast before school. And they always need rackets, basically, to help give the kids, to get them kitted out with something to play with, obviously. So their Unloved and Unwanted campaign is a way to donate your rackets. So anyone, if you've got a racket kind of under the bed or in the back of a cupboard that's just gathering dust that is never going to see the light of day, chuck Give It Your Max into Google and you'll find their details on how to donate rackets. And then for the shameless plug business side, Get a Grip is getagrip.club, website Get a Grip Club on all the social media. But if you chuck Get a Grip or Get a Grip Tennis into Google, you'll find us.
Fantastic. Yeah, and I know I for sure will be investing in a couple of funky grips, because I've always gone for like bright fluorescent pink ones, just at the attempt at trying to find something a little bit different. But that's all there is. That's all there is with the main brands, right? All I could find was sort of a colour.
That's all it is.
But now there's some patterns.
So stale. Yeah.
Exactly. Absolutely. Now there's so much more in order to get that individuality. Well, I'll tell you what, James, thank you so much for coming on and having a chat with us. It's been so helpful, especially for people who listen to our podcast, getting into tennis, to find out that there is more to it than just playing the game. There is also bringing your own flavour to the game.
100%. And no, thank you very much for having me on. It's been an absolute pleasure, and I really appreciate it.
Great. Thank you so much. For everyone who has been listening, make sure you like, subscribe, all of that good stuff on social media, and then catch us for the next one.